Hey everyone, this is Mr. Everything, and today I wanted to do a video on a good case, a good option for the Lenovo Legion Go. I'll give you a quick just view here, and I'll talk about it, and also a crucial mod that I did to it. So this is the Amazon listing of it, and I guess this is the brand is GOHHME, so I'm just going to call it GOHHME. That's the easiest thing I can relate it to, at least for me. I don't even take mine outside, but it's very affordable. At $20 and you get the coupon. Doesn't have the greatest reviews, but I think a few of them are just because of the issue with pressing one of the buttons. But you can see kind of all the cutouts, and you get the gist of it. But I was kind of leery of getting a case, but it goes on really nice. So the first thing I'll do is take it off. Now, I mean, just the nature of it, it is a little bit loose around the edges, but it's not bad. And for me, this is kind of a one-time thing. I'm really not taking, and there's really no reason to take it off unless you're taking the controllers off, and there's really no point in that. Unless you are trying to use it for the FPS mode, which I'm not. But to begin with, I mean, the Legion has like grippy texture back here, and then again the little provisions to pop the controllers off. But you know, I mean, this is pretty heavy. If you dropped it, you'd probably do some damage to it. But even just I mean, there's all these little stickers, and I really don't want to peel them off, but they'll start to come up a little bit when they're in your hand. And then again, you have some additional programmable buttons, which I have disabled, but nonetheless, you can accidentally click them sometimes when you don't want to, and even just the feel of doing that's kind of annoying, even if you have the button disabled. So there's really not much wrong with it, but just again, personally, I prefer to have the case on it. It's really just a little layer of scratch and bump protection, and maybe a little bit of grip, because there's not much here. But that's okay, and it's reflected in the price point. You know, I should also mention here before I go any further. So the issue was if there's any pressure on this, like say it's pushed in, this won't click. It just one review, they just cut this whole piece out to avoid it pressing it. But if you get one of those little pads, I used a harder one and not a foam one because it would probably collapse. So this is a nice one. It kind of works as a standoff, and I can probably, once it's on, show you better. And the application process is probably actually a little bit easier than taking it back off. And it's always harder to do this stuff through the viewfinder, so that's why I look like I'm a chump here. But you can see, you know, everything lines up. Volume buttons work. All the cutouts are there. You have the cutout for this, but I guess they're just going off of maybe like specs that the manufacturer gave them, because you can't use this when it's attached, and you can't take these Joy-Cons or controllers off. So they really could have not cut those 3 holes out. And I also kind of like, so that way these are more deliberately pressed now, because there's this lip around them, just the thickness of the case. It makes it way harder just by gripping this. If you can still reach in here and click them, but just kind of holding it doesn't click them as much. And you might be able to see now, there's a little bit of a gap between here. And you can hear that I can press it. So up here it clicks real nice. And even if I have like my pressure on it, like the palm of my hand is kind of pushing on this, but it still clicks because that little standoff I put which I think right where my fingernail is, you might be able to just barely see it. Just pulling this out a little further fixes that, so you don't have to cut this case. So that's probably the most important thing. If you do that, you'll have no issues with it. I've been using it. Now, if you take it on and off a lot of time, you might want to glue that little thing on. But this is the first time I've taken it off since I bought it. Now, again, you can see the thickness. It does add a wee little bit of bulk to this. I mean, I probably have average to maybe a little bigger than average hands. Sometimes I have carpal tunnel a little bit, so sometimes it will get a little bit painful. And this does add just a wee bit more, so it might be too much, but it's up to you. I mean, it's not adding much, and I'd rather have the layer of protection on it. But you are adding an already pretty large device with large controllers. And it does get a little bit harder. You kind of have to push it in. Because, it was pretty much a form fit. So this a little bit now, I've been using this for a few months now. So I think my pouch here, the little clamshell case, whatever you want to call it, it's definitely a lot more fit to it now. So I mean, I can zip it up. It doesn't accidentally press any of the buttons. Like, it does fit in here. It kind of keeps it a little bit more, safe and secure. It probably wouldn't fall out on its own, but it's still enough that you can still pull on this tab and it'll come out. So it might, conform to this a little bit and then get better over time, but it is a bit of a snug fit, especially at first. And the kickstand and everything's still free to use. I mean, they even gave a cutout for the Lenovo logo. They got every single one of these lined up perfectly. So that's why I think for $20, it's a really good choice. That was the little error, and it's pretty easy to correct. So you can still use your Legion exactly as it's designed. Just you lose the functionality of taking these off, which I'm never doing anyway. So for me, I'm happy with it. I would recommend the GOHHME, or whatever you want to call it, little case for the Lenovo Legion Go. Even if you buy it and don't use it that much, you can put it on when you go outside or something with it for a little added layer of protection. For the money, it's not a bad choice at all. So hopefully that was helpful and a great accessory I can recommend for the Legion Go. So thanks for watching, and you'll see me in the next one. Have a good one.